Well, hi, and welcome to the next episode of my Leveraging Your Voice podcast. I am Paul Rakowitz with 𝑃RVocalCoaching.com, and I have a special guest with me today. Erin, why don't you just quickly introduce yourself?
My name is Dr. Erin O'Connor, and I am from Aurora, Illinois.
Awesome. And that's where your office is at, right?
That's where my office is located, yes.
Good, and we're going to get into that because you're no regular doctor, like a people. You're like a doctor that helps not people, but animals.
That is correct.
Okay, so this is going to be fun. I've never interviewed anybody who was an animal doctor. So this is going to be exciting. And I'm going to learn a lot here. Just in our warm-up, I learned a bunch of stuff. So this is exciting. But I don't have to pet any animals, right?
You don't have to pet any animal.
But I can if I want, but not in this episode.
No, I don't think I could send them through the screen.
Good. All right. So again, I'm Paul Rakowitz with 𝑃RVocalCoaching.com, and I help professionals speak with confidence. So a lot of times professionals, very good at their job, they're really smart, they know what they're doing, and then they're put in front of somebody to do a presentation and they just struggle. And those are the kind of people that come to me and get help. And when they're done, they're all so happy and they're wonderful, and they can sell more, they can go up the corporate ladder, they can do all these things that they couldn't do before just because they can communicate better. So if that happens to be you and you happen to have that problem, just give me a call. We'll leave our websites here at the end, and we'll put them with this podcast video when you see it, so you'll have all that access. But let's focus on our guest, Erin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dr. Erin. So tell us, who do you help? And I chuckle when I say that because the who isn't a who. Who do you, what do you do?
Well, I consider them a who. Anything with fur, feather, and scales. But mostly dogs and cats. I do see other species as well. So I'm an animal chiropractor. So I do have my own office where I treat animals with animal chiropractic. I also work out of an animal hospital once a week and treat animals up there too with chiropractic care. And I am a dog and cat nutritionist. So I have my own raw dog and cat food company. And then I also do nutritional consults virtually as well.
So you are busy as can be.
I am busy. Yeah, it's a full schedule.
Let's talk about animal chiropractic to start. Now, you said scales. I mean, does that mean like you reach into a fishbowl?
I haven't actually adjusted any fish yet. I do know a couple animal chiropractors that have, but I have adjusted reptiles before. So like bearded dragons, I've had a few of those, even a snapping turtle, because I volunteer my services with a local wildlife center. So yeah, there are definitely animals I've adjusted with scales, just not as commonly as those with fur and feathers.
I have to admit, animals scare me a little bit. It's not, but obviously not you. And
Yeah.
I know people that just love animals, and they see a dog as they're walking down the street, they stop and they pet the dog. The dog comes over and is just in love with them just because. And I see a dog and I'm thinking, oh, am I in trouble? Is this dog going to attack me? Or what's going to happen? So people who love animals just have a different experience with them. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if I'm at a gathering at someone's house or the holidays, you will tend to see me sitting on the couch with their cats or the dog, having a conversation with them as well.
What's an animal adjustment like? I mean, obviously the animal's not going to pay you, so you have to interact with humans at some level.
Yeah. So of course their family member is going to bring them in, and an adjustment for an animal is actually pretty similar to adjustments for people. Of course, they're adjusted a little different because their anatomy is different. So it just looks slightly different than what a human would get. But I go through every single joint in the body, check the motion, check the positioning, adjust wherever is needed. Even though they can't talk to me and explain where things are at, I will go through and check everything to make sure we have it all covered. And most animals actually figure it out that it makes them feel better. And then they usually get a treat in their belly too. So it becomes a really positive experience for them. And a lot of animals are pulling their owners to the door to come in because they like getting it done because they feel better. So there's no need to explain anything to a dog, and there's no placebo effect either with animals, that they just get it.
That's really interesting. Now, do you have like a dog or cat ever where they're just a little crazy and running around, or do they sort of sense that they know something's going on that might be good for them and they just sort of settle in? Or do you have both?
I have all over. So there's a variety. Since we can't explain what we're going to do to the animal, we just have to kind of show them, and their wheels get turning and they figure it out most of the time. But just like people, some animals might not like being touched. They might not like getting stuff done to them. So they could be a little nervous or afraid, or as in some cases, we do have to use a muzzle. But I would say 95% of the patients I see, they stand relatively nicely, maybe a little bit of shifting around, and it tends to go really well. So
How do you pick up on the ones that maybe are a little nervous?
So I will really watch kind of the animal communication side of things in the first few appointments and see what kind of behavior are they displaying? How is their tail being held? Is their fur nice and relaxed, or is it up on end? Are they showing the whites of their eyes? Are they panting? Are they growling? So some signs are really obvious, but there also are subtle signs as well. And so I will pay very close attention to those as I'm getting to know an animal that I'm working with. Once I get to see them for several visits, I know what to expect. They know what to expect, and I don't have to pay as close of attention. But yeah, getting to know them in the beginning, I watch for all those subtle little cues that they might give into how they are feeling with the whole experience. So
Show us your hands and fingers. Do you still have all your fingers?
I still have all my fingers.
You ever get like, hey, they bit me or anything like that? Or
So, I mean, working with animals, they have teeth, so they could bite. So there's always that risk. And animals could be unpredictable as well. So even if maybe they aren't showing a sign that they are thinking about doing something like that, there's the possibility. Thankfully, I have never needed stitches. I've never had any really bad bites, but that is a question that I commonly get with working with animals is, do you get bit? Do you get scratched? Things like that. And it's pretty rare because I am watching those signals, and if I need to back off or slow down or kind of butter up the patient in between and give them some belly rubs or some head scratches, I will do that to just kind of bring that stress level down if they are tending to go that way.
when you're thinking about working with these animals, is it when you think of a human, you think of, okay, they're laying on the table and I'm putting a lot of pressure or whatever it might be to like make the adjustment. When you're working with this animal, you're not going to squish them like that or anything. So
No.
what's it, explain just a little bit about what that looks like when you're doing it.
Yeah, so most dogs that I'm adjusting are going to be actually standing up. Once I get out of their rear end, that's usually where I start, is their back legs and their pelvic area. Once I get out of that area, they could sit or they could lay down, but most will stand the entire time. Same with horses. With horses, an animal chiropractor will stand on a foam bale next to them and adjust kind of over them. With cats, we tend to put them up on, I just have these little grooming tables that they sit on. Of course, if they're scared of a table, then we won't do that. We'll figure out another place to adjust them down on a mat. But exotics and cats tend to be on a table. Dogs, little dogs up on the table, big dogs stand down on a nice squishy mat.
When you do that adjustment, is it just like a light touch thing so it doesn't like, you know, their legs don't buckle or something when you make that?
Oh no, their legs don't buckle. So they, of course, if a dog is coming in with back leg weakness or paralysis, which we do get those conditions in a lot, they won't be standing because then any little bit of pressure that could cause their legs to buckle. But no, the way the adjustment's given, they are able to stand strongly the entire time. And with the adjustment being just a very quick, precise thrust, it's not going to affect their legs really in any way unless they have an actual weakness there. Then it's a possibility. So
I get the feeling that you love working with animals.
I do.
See that. Now, you had said you don't work with horses, but maybe someone in your office does. Talk about that. Why don't you? And how's that work? And I understand people bring their dogs in, but do they bring horses in?
Yeah. So with horses, so I've never traveled. With horses, typically horse owners want somebody to travel out to their barn. And so without traveling, I rarely saw horses. If we got a phone call and somebody said, I really want you to see my horse, I would say, you have to haul out to my office because I just don't travel. In 2018, I hired on another animal chiropractor, and she's been in the horse world her entire life. She's fabulous with horses and all animals, of course. But the horse people absolutely love her. So she does all of the horse adjustments, and she travels twice a week. So she does go out to barns and has those designated travel days in her schedule. She does have some horses that come to us because they're outside of her travel zones. And so some do haul in. It's not as often as her going out.
Go out to the trailer then?
So they pull in with their trailer and the horses get adjusted in the parking lot. So, and it's quite funny because whenever there's horses outside, everybody comes in, walks through the front door of our office, stops, and they go, there's horses out there.
I get it.
So, yeah, they're getting their chiro care.
I got another question. So this answer surprised me in our pre-call chat. You said that you and your husband work in the same office. I believe he's a chiropractor too, but a people chiropractor.
Yes.
And yet all of them are coming in the same entry. What's that about? How's that work?
Yeah. So originally in our first office, we took over basically a daycare facility. The building was used as a daycare facility. So you had a main entrance area and then you had the classrooms. So we took over the classrooms. So we originally did have two separate entrances. The front desk opened to both sides, separate waiting rooms, of course, separate treatment rooms. And in 2020, we moved to a bigger space and we really loved the space, but it was a little different because we only had one entrance for everybody. But since it had a bigger waiting room, we figured this could work and it's been fine. Everyone has been fine with it. So of course, all the treatment rooms are still separate, but we have one nice large waiting room that everybody can walk into. And I now have more treatment rooms so we can put animals in rooms right away so that they're not hanging out in the waiting room. And if somebody really doesn't like animals on my husband's side, we have a separate little hallway that's closed off to the main waiting room with chairs where they can sit and relax before their appointments and not have to worry about any animals coming on by. But really, nobody has had any issue with it.
Awesome. That is interesting. And I just want to come there one day and visit your office and see how that works.
Yeah.
Because I would be a little afraid in there with all the animals, but that's just...
Yeah. Yep. That separate little hallway would be just...
I'll be the first one in there. Hey, where'd Paul go? We got him in the hallway. He's in the crying room. Don't worry about him.
Yeah. Yeah. And the separate little waiting room has a door and there's a window so they could still see what's going on in the main waiting room, but it allows them, even if they just want a quiet space. It's not like our office is loud or crazy or anything, but if they just want to be away from everybody else, it's an option too.
Awesome. All right. So that's your animal chiropractic business.
Yes.
What's the name of that anyway?
Vitality Animal Chiropractic.
Okay. And what's your website if people want to look that up?
VitalityAnimalChiro.com.
Perfect. Really quickly, if I'm an animal owner in your area, Aurora, Naperville, something like that, and I have an animal that I want to come in, I don't know anything about you, I go to that website, what am I going to end up doing to end up getting the chance to talk to you and see if I want to come in?
Yeah, well, you'll see our phone number there. You can give us a call and tell us what you're wanting to do care for, and we can let you know if your pet would be a good candidate. We also have, if you're kind of a DIY person and you want to fill out your forms and all that and send it in, that's also all available on the website. And we do also have online scheduling. So if you're somebody that I just know I want to do this and I want to get scheduled, you can do that any time of day. We sometimes have appointments coming in at like 2 a.m. So because we get an email anytime somebody schedules. So you can do that on your own any time of day, or definitely give us a call and we are very happy to talk to you.
Perfect. That's perfect. Now you do some other things and you mentioned them early on. Let's talk about the food
Okay,
business. What is
sure.
that called?
That is called farm to bowl. So
Okay.
farm, actually the
Farm to
number
table. No,
bowl.
not farm to table.
Farm to bowl.
Farm to bowl. Wow. Wow. The whole thing is just animal
Yes.
stuff for you. Farm to bowl. I love that. Okay. How did you get into that?
So back actually about a little over 10 years ago, I continued my education into nutrition for dogs and cats. And so initially I started with consults. So people that are wanting to feed their dog or cat a raw diet, I would do virtual consults, and I still do that to this day. But I have put a lot of my information online that I used to give in the consults just because I don't have enough time to talk to all the people that want to talk to me. So a lot of it is available actually on our Farm to Bowl website. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to do my own food. So I just kind of kept it on the back burner for several years. And then my dog's agility instructor actually was at this farm event where they bring out a high-end or a Michelin star chef out to this farm. They have a whole farm tour. They see how to properly like make the cuts of the meats and all of that. And then this chef cooks up this amazing meal for all of the guests. And during the butcher demo, the farmer who I'm now partners with mentioned that a lot of people have been reaching out to him about getting food for their pets. And he just didn't really know the right way to go about doing it, but he's looking into it type of thing. And when that event was over, she said, I know just the person you need to talk to. So she gave him my information. We got on the phone. It was basically like two puzzle pieces fitting together because he had all the farming, the freezer space, all the manufacturing, processing side of things. We don't outsource anything. And then I have the knowledge on nutrition for dogs and cats, how to formulate the foods, and basically how to educate pet owners into why to feed raw and how to do it. And it is definitely different than putting kibble or canned food in a bowl, working with raw food, but it becomes second nature once you get used to it. So it was a really awesome partnership that formed. And he's a 5th generation farmer, so he's doing things all the good old fashioned way. So our animals are being raised right. And the farm actually supplies a lot of high-end restaurants, a lot of Michelin star restaurants. All of our animals are raised the same. So a lot of people think pet food, the quality is going to drop in the food ingredients when it comes to pet food, but we've actually taken a super high quality, basically super high quality meats, and we've brought the pet food up to that level. So it's really neat to see such high quality meat being provided for our pets.
So what was the year when you sold your first pet food?
So we launched in January of 2018. So, and it is super memorable because we had a polar vortex going on in the Chicagoland area. So we still delivered in negative 35 degrees, and that's not with the wind chill. It was a little crazy. So it was quite the launch.
I love that. I love that. Well, I'm in Michigan, so I know the winters too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You
So-
definitely do in Michigan.
So I imagine that that's pretty normal. Outside,
Yes.
let's go.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
love it. So 2018, you sold a bag. And today, yeah, but today I think you probably sell more than that. I mean, has the business grown, and how are you doing?
Yeah, it's grown definitely over every single year. It has grown. In 2018, we just started with local Chicagoland pickups. So we have 8 Chicagoland pickups, and basically people meet our truck. It comes straight from the farm. The pet owner picks it up at a designated time. So that's what we started out with. In 2020, we started FedEx shipping to the lower 48. So people can order it straight to their door. A lot of our customers are more in the Midwest because, of course, if you are in California or you're in Florida or on the East Coast, shipping for frozen food is going to go up, but we still have people out in those areas ordering as well, because a lot of times they see the quality and they see that it's worth it. But I would say the bulk of our customer base is more the Midwest.
So it's frozen. It comes frozen.
Yes, raw food will always come frozen, just like if you were to have steaks or hamburger delivered, it's going to come frozen. You're going to keep it in your freezer until you're ready to eat it, and then you're going to thaw it out.
And so is that like with the dry ice and all that sort of thing?
So we've actually figured out a way to package our food. It's in chubs, so it tends to stay really close together and it stays frozen without the dry ice. Dry ice, it's a hazardous material, so we were trying to figure out a way to ship our products without needing to use it. So far, so good. We just have to warn people in the summer months, choose 1-day shipping, not 2-day shipping, because if it's 90 degrees, then that could be kind of a little risking it to get your food to arrive completely frozen. But yeah, people understand, and in those summer months, that's what they do.
Now, is there a minimum size that you can order, or is it any size?
So we pack our product in 10-pound and 30-pound cases for local pickup and even pickup. People can pick up straight from our farm. You could do any of those sizes, the 10-pound or the 30-pound. For FedEx shipping, we only ship the 30-pound just because it stays frozen. If we were to ship the 10-pound, it won't last in the mail. So
Okay. And when you buy food like that, raw food, which is certainly a higher quality, am I paying for that higher quality more than I might just if I go to the store and buy some canned food for my dog or cat?
It really depends. So there are some high-end kibbles where they are actually pretty close in price to the raw food. So it depends on which food you're comparing it to. If you're comparing it to a food that has a lot of corn, wheat, soy, like a lot of filler ingredients, then of course it is going to cost you more to feed meat and organ and bone, those higher quality ingredients versus fillers and things like that. So it really depends on what food you're moving from into raw, but it can be comparable to some of the higher end kibble and canned foods and freeze-dried foods.
And do people notice anything in their pets when they switch to this kind of diet?
Definitely. We get messages and emails all the time saying, I can't believe how much my dog has improved on eating this food. Dogs that have had lingering allergies, or maybe their blood work was a little off and they're on farm to bowl for a while, and they start to see those things improve. So raw food is the natural diet of a dog or a cat. And so if we're feeding them that versus processed little pellets of food, it's just going to support health that much better. So some of the things that they might be working on health goal wise, you may see improvements in that. And a lot of people do. So it's really fun to see that, and even seeing messages come in of how excited dogs and cats are to eat the food, because they're like, where has this been my entire life?
I love it. If they could only talk.
So you have dogs that never would get out of bed in the morning, and then they switch to farm to bowl, and the dog it's like a circus in the kitchen. So we joke around saying, you might have to retrain your dog a little bit in the beginning, because they're howling and barking and running around in circles because they know this amazing food is coming. So it's fun to see, for sure.
Good. Now, going back to your office, all the people that come in, obviously they would know that you sell this kind of food.
Yeah.
What percentage of them are also buying the food? A high percentage, a low percentage? How does that work?
There's a good percentage. I actually typically don't say like from the bat, like, hey, I have this food. If I'm asked about it, then of course I will tell them. Or if they say, what food do you recommend? I'll say, well, I
Well, by
really
the way, I actually have a food.
yeah. I'll say I recommend feeding your dog or cat a raw diet, and they'll say, well, what do you feed your own dog? And I go, well, actually, I have my own food, so of course that's what they eat. And some clients from my office will find Farm to Bowl not realizing that I also have this business, and they come in next and they go, hey, I saw your picture on this website and that you have this raw food. So
Well, we
I
got to
don't
give you a
like
better
to.
line when they ask. Well, you should ask them. So, have you ever heard of farm to table? Yeah. Well, have you ever heard of farm to bowl? No.
Oh.
Oh, you should check that out. You'll see this really pretty lady on the website.
Yeah, I mean, I like dog and cat owners to feed what they feel is best for their pet, and I don't want to just push all of my stuff onto them. If they're happy with their current raw food, that's okay. Do I feel like we have a super premium high quality raw food and probably one of the highest quality raw foods on the market? Yes, but if somebody is happy with another raw food, I'm just happy that their dog and cat is off of processed food, because processed food just does not support health. So of course, I'm very happy to provide them with the chiropractic care and the food and whatever else they might need. But yeah, so some people don't know right off the bat, but we do keep information out and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it sounds really cool. Now, all of this conversation helps us understand that you know a lot about what you're doing, and people who are watching can certainly recognize that you're an expert. But it would beg the question, so why are you an expert? Because they're probably thinking, as I am, well, if you're a chiropractor, you went to chiropractic school and learned how to adjust people. So
right.
how did this happen? So why don't you just share a little bit with us about how that did happen?
Okay. So yeah, to be an animal chiropractor, you either need to go to chiropractic school or vet school, and then it's another 240 hours in animal chiropractic education. So I went to chiropractic school, and the reason I went to chiropractic school was when I was an undergrad, I was majoring in biology, and I was actually concentrating in pre-vets, because if you asked me growing up as a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would say a veterinarian. So that I was doing it my freshman year. And halfway through my freshman year, I got hit by a drunk driver. And it was a pretty bad car accident. I was pushed into both the van in front of me and the car in front of it. And I didn't have any broken bones, but I had a lot of problems after that. So I saw about every type of doctor you can think of. One said, take these 3 painkillers with every meal 3 times a day. I was 18 at the time, and I thought, if I want my liver, my kidneys by the time I'm 30, this does not sound like a good idea. Another said we could put a shot of local anesthetic in your head once a month. And I thought, oh, that doesn't sound like a good idea either. Another one said, here, sleep on this buckwheat pillow. That's the best I could do. So I felt like I was sleeping on rocks every night. So that was fun. Another one said, you just have to live with the pain the rest of your life. Again, I was 18 at the time. And a myofascial doctor took all this imaging of my face, and he said, there's nothing I can do, but one day all of your teeth might turn black and fall out because of the trauma from being hit from behind and then also hit from the front when you got pushed into the van. So that didn't make me feel good either.
No.
And only one to say, hey, you've been in a major trauma, just give it some time and we're going to get you some results, was the chiropractor. So in my mind, that was the only valid option I had. And once I saw my pain improving, I thought, well, this is really neat. I never even knew this profession existed. What is it like to go to chiropractic school? And I shadowed chiropractors, I shadowed vets. In the end, it was a really tough decision, but the chiropractors all seemed happier with what they were doing. So I went to chiropractic school with the intention of working on people, because I did not know animal chiropractic even existed at that point. Second trimester in, because chiropractic school, most are on trimesters, I saw a poster hanging in the hallway saying an animal chiropractor was coming to speak. And I thought, what? There's animal chiropractic? So I took up my calendar, I wrote it down, and I said, I need to attend that. And I did. And from that point on, I said, this is what I'm going to do. So that's how I'm here today.
It's a great story. And it's great to hear that you had the same experience that I and probably many others watching are having, which is what? Animal chiropractic. What does that mean? Now tell us about the birds that fly in and you fix them too. I don't know if I believe this story, but if you want to put it on tape, go ahead, tell the story.
Okay, yeah, I've actually videotaped it. I filmed it on my phone in some of these cases that have happened. But we have had occasionally a bird fly into the window of our office, and we hear a thud, and I go out, and there's a bird just laying there on the sidewalk. And I do volunteer my services at a wildlife center, so I do work with a lot of the native wildlife in the area. So I've adjusted songbirds before. That's typically if something flies into our window, it's a songbird. And so I bring them in, I check out their neck and adjust. Sometimes we do a little red light therapy because usually we'll have a lot of inflammation going on too. And once they look better, they typically sit in a box for a couple hours just to get their bearings and allow that adjustment to settle in before they're released. But yeah, then we send them on their way. So
and they fly away.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I have a few videos where that's happened because I go, nobody is going to believe me.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. All right. Well, you got to have like one of those videos on your website so they can see. Oh yeah, we even do these little birds.
Yep. I do film some of the wildlife adjusting that I do with the local wildlife center, especially when I adjusted a snapping turtle. I go, nobody is going to believe this one. So we have to set up the tripod and get this on video. So some of those cases where people are going to go, what, you adjusted that? I try and get some video out of it.
Quick quiz. Possums?
Oh yeah, I love opossums. They are one of my favorites.
Squirrels?
Yes, I've adjusted squirrels. The most common animal that I've adjusted, wild animal that I've adjusted, is actually Canada geese. So they get hit by cars a lot. Sometimes, unfortunately, they're abused by people that don't like them. I mean, you just leave them alone if you don't like them.
That's the best choice.
Yeah. So yeah, I've adjusted.
Yeah, I'm going to find one that you haven't done. How about a snake?
You got it. So I actually have not adjusted any snakes yet. I'd be happy to. There's
Is that even possible?
Thoracics and ribs. Yeah, it's possible.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm friends with some animal chiropractors that have adjusted snakes. So
Interesting. Do cows ever get adjustments?
yeah. So Dr. Kat, the other animal chiropractor at my office, she has adjusted cows. So cows, horses, pigs, goats, llamas, that's all her.
Amazing. It's amazing. Well, it's a great service you do to the animal kingdom.
Thank you.
You're like Dr. Doolittle.
I've been called that before too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, listen, did we forget anything? Is there anything else you want to share with us?
No, I think we covered everything. So from my office to the food. So yeah, unless there's any other questions you have for me.
All right. And we talked about the website for your office. What's the website for Farm to Table or Farm to Bowl?
Farm to Bowl. So it's farm-bowl.com. And you actually can go to my website, which is kind of a hub for everything that I do. And it's just DrErinO'Connor.com. So just DrErinOCONNOR.com.
Perfect. So we're going to put all that with the video. We're going to put all three of those websites on there so people can get to you.
Awesome.
And this has been enjoyable, no doubt, and a great learning experience. I was unaware of all these things that are happening in the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. And it's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Any last thought you want to share with the folks watching?
I'm just here, just trying to help pets live their healthiest, best lives possible. So if you need any help with that, let me know.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Erin, for joining us, and folks for watching. Got a lot of different podcasts with a lot of great guests. Go and check all those out. And we're looking forward to seeing you the next time. Thanks as always for watching. If you want to learn more about me, prvocalcoaching.com. You can check out what I do there. And until next time, be safe, and we will see you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.